All right, well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in our second edition of the Global Solutions Forum. My name is Maria Cortés Puig, and I am the Vice President of Networks at the UN SDSN. Good morning, Jack. Thank you for joining us today. Let me just, for the speakers, explain very briefly who SDSN is, and most importantly, who our networks are. So SDSN has been working since 2012 under the auspices of the Secretary General of the United Nations in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. We are a members-based organization, which means that our reach is much broader than just our offices in New York and Paris. We have members in over 120 countries, and we have more than 1,400 member institutions. Our members are typically universities, but also think tanks, research centers, as well as NGOs. And the way the networks organize, the way the members organize themselves is around networks, national and regional networks that work with their governments and with private sector and civil society, excuse me, to accelerate the implementation of the SDGs. How do they do that? They do what we call localizing the SDGs. Sorry again. So just thinking about what do these goals mean for my specific country? What are some of the challenges that, because of our particular context, we're going to be facing, as well as some of the opportunities? What kind of science do we need to push to make sure that the government has all the information they need and all the evidence they need when doing policies? They also do very rigorous long-term pathways for sustainable development to prove that this agenda is doable, that it will need certain investments, it will need different sectors to work together, but it's nonetheless doable. Our networks also work on education for sustainable development, and they do it through their academic programs, their formal academic programs, but also through a variety of programs and activities, including just awareness-raising activities at their local level. And then finally, our networks do what we call the solutions initiatives, and it's gathered here today. They recognize very specific challenges of their context, of their region or their country, and they work together across sectors to find solutions. So our Global Solutions Forum started last year. Obviously, this is a very different setting than the one we had last year, but we've tried to reproduce some of the key features. So let me just go very quickly through the run of the event. So we are privileged to have a fantastic keynote speaker today, Jack Sim, that you have in your screens also. He'll be talking to us in a minute. I'll introduce him in more detail, but I will just say that he's a fantastic social entrepreneur and that he has a very interesting life experience. So that's what we will be starting with. And his speech will be followed by rapid fire talks from 4 different networks. Think about these brief talks as a sort of conversation opener. You'll get to hear from 4 solutions coming from different countries around the world. And then after them, we are going to move into the tables that you were at just now for a more in-depth conversation. You'll get to speak with the presenters and hear about some of the challenges that they faced in designing and implementing the solutions that they will propose today, how they came up with these ideas. And you can chat also about specific challenges from your region. After 20 minutes, we will come back for a plenary session where all the speakers will be available to answer your questions. In terms of question and answers, you have in the right of your screen a chat function as well as a Q&A tab. You can start adding your questions in this tab as we move ahead. Some of them will be answered in the chat by our team, and then others we will be picking up for the panel session later. Last housekeeping: if you are not speaking, or if it's not your turn to speak, please leave your cameras and microphones off. And then finally, for all of our participants, if you're using social media, make sure to use our hashtag, which is hashtag GSF2020! Great, so let's move along. I'm going to introduce our phenomenal keynote today. Jack Sim is the founder and director of the World Toilet Organization. He is a leading social entrepreneur and sanitation advocate who broke the taboo around toilets by bringing the sanitation crisis to the global media spotlight. He is known for combining unique humor, which I particularly love, with serious facts to advocate for improved sanitation conditions globally. He has mobilized a global movement involving governments, policymakers, UN agencies, international civil society, thought leaders, and activists to work together to address the sanitation crisis. A highly successful businessman with over 20 years of experience, Jack, at age of 40, decided to devote the rest of his life to social work. And in 1998, he established the Restroom Association of Singapore. This was soon followed with a global body on sanitation, the World Toilet Organization, that was launched in 2001 and that today has over 235 organizations in 58 countries. Jack, we're thrilled to have you here. Thank you for accepting our invitations, and over to you.
Very much. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jack Sim, and I live in Singapore, talking to you from my house. So I want to discuss a little bit about the World Toilet Organization. How did we create a global movement from having no resources, no authority, no influence, but we are a storyteller. And so this is the main power, and that anybody could do it. So I will use a PowerPoint so that you can understand with some pictures what I'm doing. Just wait, let's see this one. Okay, so I hope you can see my PowerPoint. Can you see it? Yes? Okay, so
we cannot see it yet. Sorry, Jack, we can't see it yet.
You cannot see?
No, I think you need to share your screen.
Okay, I need to share screen. Yes. I must allow. Okay. All right. So so here's the PowerPoint, right? Okay.
We can see it now. I think you need to open up there we go.
Okay. Thank you very much. So basically, I created the World Toilet Organization and also the BOP Hub, which is the base of Pyramid Hub. The idea is that we should convert charity, donation, foreign aid into business efficiency to end poverty. So COVID has killed, I think now about 2 million people. So just a little bit old, and affected so many people and created the global recession, and the damage is still rising. About 400 million people lost their job. And so we need to find new economic customer in order to grow this global economy. And the 4 billion poor that is earning less than $8 a day, we call it the base of the pyramid, is worth $12 trillion marketplace according to the UN calculation. So why is these people formerly not considered profitable customer, but now we need new customers, so we have to convert them into profitable customer? The needs are a lot. And if you look at it for donation, you will never solve it. So you have 1 billion people don't have electricity, 1.3 billion don't have lighting, 1.6 billion don't have adequate housing, 2.5 billion don't have toilets, 4 billion don't have internet, 4.5 billion don't have sewage treatment, and then you have hunger, clean water, education. So all this, you can say problem, but you can also say opportunities. And the demand will drive the supplies. So the solution is that all the players have now got to come together to work in synchronized harmony, just like a Swiss watch. And if this is achieved, then we will have the efficiency. Right now, they are working in silos, and everybody is trying to be a hero, creating their own impact, and that is why it's very, very inefficient. So the solution of creating this is the Singapore story. I grew up in an EdTech house like the one on top, and then eventually the whole Singapore is urbanized, and we turned from third world to first world in 25 years, pre-internet age. And it's because we have a good government policy. We eliminated corruption, eliminated hygiene and health issue, and we train the people to do business and get out of poverty. So China copied this idea and got 700 million people out of poverty in the last 30 years. Rwanda copied Singapore, called themselves the Singapore of Africa, and also is now the fastest growing state in Africa, despite of being landlocked. So we started the BOP Hub with conventions. We want to have trade shows, and this is our Deputy Prime Minister with all the experts. And then we went to Mexico City to do a second one, then came back to Singapore with our Deputy Prime Minister. And then now we think the SDG goals are actually all related, and then they can all become businesses, or at least most of them. So we created together with 80 other social entrepreneurs leader, the Catalyst 2030 group that is collaborating across sectors. So this comprises of the Ashoka, Schwab Foundation, Skoll Foundation, Echoing Green, and Harvard, McKinsey, World Economic Forum, all volunteered here. And our job is to match, map, and motivate everybody, train them to transform into a marketplace. So the biggest waste in the world is ideas waste. Good ideas, good business model that are not copied, not shared. So we want to replicate and adaptively implement good business solution, technology, recycle and reuse proven system through ecosystem approach, and not work alone as silos. So we partner with the National University of Singapore, and all faculty become an ecosystem, from fintech to clean tech to agri-tech to education, healthcare, housing, logistics, everything. So this partnership eventually will create a center for social system innovation. A little bit of history. I was a businessman with 16 successful businesses, commercial businesses, because I failed everything in school, so I don't have to go to university, and I started business very early with no money, but people invested in my businesses, and I created bricks factory, roof tile factory, real estate development, and also the Australian International School in Singapore that has 3,500 students. At 40, I start to realize that making more money is of no use if you can already pay the bills. So we created the World Toilet Organization. And this is because the subject of toilet was so unspeakable that on 19 November 2001, we created the UN World Toilet Day. It was not called the UN Day that time, but 13 years later it happened. So Every year, 1.5 million people die of diarrhea, 2.5 billion don't have toilet, 4.5 don't have treatment. And so there's a market for 1 billion toilets. So these are open defecation, diarrhea caused by this situation. We created the World Toilet Summit every year. And on the 7th year, we got the President of India World Health Organization and also the Crown Prince of Holland to open our World Toilet Summit. And that gave us a lot of legitimacy. Now he is the king, William Alexander, and he's still very, very supportive of our work. And so by telling stories to the media, breaking a taboo, we attracted ministers and royalties and presidents. And also President Clinton came to endorse our work and did fundraising together with us. I went to the UN 13 years later, after we have reached about 3 billion audience every year on World Toilet Day, that we should adopt 19th of November as the UN World Toilet Day. And it was unanimously adopted by all 193 countries' government. So every year, this is celebrated. So you will see this about 3 weeks later. Please celebrate 19 November World Toilet Day. Bill Gates started investing about 200 million US dollar on reinventing the toilet and setting standards. Prime Minister Modi has just completed building 110 million toilets. So the toilet movement has been very, very successful, whereas 20 years ago, it was an unspeakable, embarrassing, and taboo subject. We also set up World Toilet College with Harpik and Amitabh Bachchan, the Bollywood actor, to train toilet cleaners. And in the last 2 years, we trained and placed 5,000 of them, giving them dignified and regular, well-paid job, at least relatively to their former position. In China, President Xi Jinping has now become the toilet champion with the China Toilet Revolutions. So we have built 15 Rainbow School toilet and introducing our program to another 214,000 schools. The Queen of England gave us the Commonwealth Point of Light Award 2 years ago. And so this is the way we change the taboo into a media darling by powerful storytelling, getting readership. Politicians use the toilet agenda to win votes and power. Celebrities use it for popularity, and academia research to support our agenda with the figures and evidence. Then donor give more money for because now sanitation is a hot topic and they really understand the problem now. The NGO and social entrepreneur comes and collect the money and everybody gets toilet. So the work of the World Toilet Organization is basically a storyteller, but the effect is very, very powerful because as a movement, we create the alignment for everybody to come together. You have a community, you define their needs through a survey, then you plug and play all the good ideas and you bring in all the stakeholders. And this is a very, very simple way of creating an ecosystem. If you were to think about 5G that is coming immediately soon to everywhere in the world, the computing power will allow us to do ecosystem approach. And then we do not need to go learn AI because the AI will be making it so simplified that we can create interfaces, dashboard, experimentation, engagement, algorithm, and then stuff on demand. So I teach in Singularity University, the high-tech university in NASA, on how to create a massive movement. So if we were to take chili and convert to chili sauce, the value addedness is about 30 times, but the farmers gets very little money for the chili. and the retail gets a lot. So we want to use the SDG number 12, responsible production and consumption, to add value for the farmers by putting QR code on the end product where they can click it and watch the farmer's family improve when they are eating their chili. So this can go to coffee and every other products. We also partner with New School University in New York, Mondragon Team Academy for co-ops, and of course the National University of Singapore. Recently, we just completed a 65,000 square foot SDG center in Singapore that will function as the World Trade Center for the poor. So we welcome everybody to please come and join us in this network. We will be your servant. We will facilitate you and make your business and your solution connected to everybody else. Thank you. Thank you very much. And this is how we tell our story with the humor. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a fascinating talk. Congratulations on your success. And I think you are speaking to the, I don't know how it's said in English, to the choir, is it? To your, just to
preaching to the,
yeah, just to say that we are
converted.
Exactly. We are huge fans of working across sectors, of creating spaces, even the physical space, if necessary, where different people from different sectors can come in. And we think that universities have a huge role to play in that, as you have proved. I will follow up with you on these, on both the SDG Center. I love the idea of having a World Trade Center for the SDGs, and also the Center for Systems Innovation. I think you would be a fantastic asset in our network. So let's stay in touch on that.
The good news is I just heard on BBC that the next World Trade Organization chief will be from Africa, a woman from Nigeria. So I think this is very good for the base of the pyramid. Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, I agree. We also have a very strong network in Nigeria with many academics, so we will be sure to mobilize them too. All right, so Jack, I'm told that you can stick around for a bit. You may get some questions on the chat. Our team will be alerting you. And I'm now going to call our next speaker. So we're going to start with